Okay. Ooh. Don't worry, Jared. I had my hand on the headphone monitor just to be safe. Can't be going deaf if you want to be doing podcasts, Jared.
If you went deaf, actually.
Our podcast would just consist of me going, huh? What? And then just ignoring everything Jared says and saying whatever I want. Right. That's true. We'd have to get a live closed captioning person in on here all the time. Hello and welcome to the Untranslatable podcast. We are here today to talk about first world problems, which, unbeknownst to me, apparently some boomers don't know what this term is. At least the two boomers that are my roomies or my parents, they... at least I know my mom earlier today wasn't sure what a first world problem is. So in case you're not sure, a first world problem is a problem that I think if you had some sets of some very serious problems, probably wouldn't be at the very top of your priority list, to say the least. I think that's a fair way to frame it. I'm not getting any evil looks from my co-host, so I think we're on the right track here. So, without further ado, I am very excited to introduce my co-host as well and my partner in crime. What's going on, Jared?
That wouldn't be how hello everyone. That wouldn't be how I would define it. I would define it as a problem or issue that can be trivial in comparison to other problems in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But I have a lot of opinions about first world problems, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But you can, in the meantime, please follow us on Instagram, Untranslatable Podcast. I think I'm forgetting the podcast, everything about the podcast as I do this. Twitter, Untranslatable 1, the number 1.
Spread a little love. Numero uno.
You could also give us 5-star reviews on iTunes and Stitcher. That would be cool.
Пожалуйста.
Oh, dude, are you watching the big game or the Super Bowl?
No, definitely not.
Do you have no interest?
Not really. I am
not even in the commercials.
Well, I was going to say that's really what I'm more curious about is the halftime show and the commercials.
Oh, I don't care.
Because it seems like every year, but every year there's like a funny meme or something that comes out of the halftime show.
Sure,
you know,
so
people
make fun of everything, but the halftime show is almost never entertaining to me.
Well, it depends on the artists and stuff like that. Like I don't know. I think the one where it was with Katy Perry and they had those sharks was kind of entertaining. It was a little funny.
I don't know if I watched that one. I usually get up and take care of business at halftime. Important business. I'm an important businessman.
That is fair.
All right. Well, we don't have to talk about that then, because
I will say this though: it's pretty crazy that Tom Brady went from the Patriots to the Buccaneers, and now he's at his isn't it like his 7th Super Bowl?
I think
and he's in his 40s too, which is amazing.
He moved to a team that it seemed like previously didn't really have that much of a chance of going to the Super Bowl, and he took them to this. I'm not a football person or a sport person except for Formula One, but I kind of like soccer too. Yeah, that's true. But that's impressive. That that's some certified goat stuff right there.
Oh, for sure,
undeniable at that point.
Yep, and I think there's a lot of Tom Brady supporters in our necks of the woods because he did play at U of M, and so a lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of Ann Arbor people like that. There's a really funny meme from I forget what game it was, but if you just Google like U of M student flips off camera or something like that.
Oh yeah,
there's a football game. Yeah, you've seen it before for sure.
Yeah.
Where he's like flipping off the camera. He's got a Patriots hat. You know, so it's not,
I didn't know he had. I didn't know he had the hat. The Patriots hat.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me change it up then. Then we won't talk about the Super Bowl. I don't care about it either. I was just curious if you did. I am excited for the commercials though. I will say that. I almost always put it on, even if it's just in the background. It's something like anyway. You know me. I always have like headphones in. Always have podcast on and stuff. So it's kind of just like a background thing that I put on. But I'm never really that interested in who wins. Like, it doesn't really matter to me that much who wins, but it's fun to watch sometimes. Like, I get it. I understand how the sport works and stuff. But I do like the commercials too. I'm a fan of the commercials. Groundhog Day was this week.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, did you know how they did Groundhog Day? Did you know the process of Groundhog Day?
No, not really.
Dude, I saw this on on Twitter, and this shit blew my mind. Hold on, I'm going to share my screen real quick because I have to show you this.
Ooh, I'm excited.
So
Here,
this is the process of Groundhog Day right here.
That meme is hilarious. Put a mask on and stop.
Oh yeah,
breathing
so I
on you, says
retweeted that
Mr.
on Twitter.
Groundhog. That's great.
So a bunch of dudes in top hats and long pea coats, I guess you call it.
Yep.
Just put a groundhog on a little wood pedestal and stare at it right up in its face. I had no idea this was the process. For some reason, I don't know why I imagined like they must have some hidden camera or something, or like I don't know what I thought the process was, but not this.
Why
I
do
saw
they
this,
stare
it blew
at it
my
like
mind.
that?
Because they're trying to see. Also, aren't you blocking the shadow? Your
Right,
top
no
hat is definitely blocking the shadow.
Oh, for sure. Especially you got those top hat individuals all around you, for sure.
I think they said there are 6 more weeks of Christmas, of winter. Does that?
Woo, 6 more weeks of Christmas.
Does that mean he saw his shadow or did not see his shadow? I brought up Groundhog Day and I don't even know what the result was.
I'm trying to think now. Isn't it if he well, isn't it not only if he sees, it's like if he sees his shadow and like goes back inside, right? Then isn't it 6
I didn't know that.
6 more weeks of winter?
Well, I'll say this. Puxatawny Phil predicts 6 more weeks of winter. Pennsylvania's most famous groundhog emerged from his burrow on a snowy Tuesday morning and saw his shadow declaring... hold on. I'm going to take this picture down.
The picture is hilarious.
We get it. Declaring there would be 6 more weeks of winter, members of Puxatawny Phil's inner circle woke up the furry critter at 7:25 to see whether or not he would see a shadow or not. The spectacle that is groundhog. Okay, well, we still never got the answer. All right. Here. The spectacle that is Groundhog Day at Gobbler's Knob in Puxatawny, Pennsylvania, went on, but this year it was all virtual because of the coronavirus pandemic, except for all those freaking dudes without a mask with their heads surrounded around groundhog. Shortly after this year's prediction was revealed, one of the members of the inner circle shared a message. After winter, we were looking for. Okay, I don't care about this. All right, forget it. He either saw a shadow or he didn't. I was just shocked that this was the way that it was done. I was like, this is how we're doing this? For some reason, I thought there was like a hidden camera or something, or I don't even know how I thought it was done.
I wonder why Groundhog Day is even really a thing.
Yeah, I can't imagine that there's science to it. I mean, I don't even know why I have to say that, but I feel like there's no science related to relating the two things. Also,
then again, though, it is a holiday. I feel like most of our holidays are based in tradition and ritual and not in science. Obviously.
We should talk about like federal holidays. That would be a fun episode.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Because there are a bunch of stupid ones,
too.
like
right,
Flag Day, Arbor Day, Columbus Day. That's a stupid one.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think some people have started to call that Indigenous Peoples Day.
Yeah, reclaiming it, which I'm okay with. I like that.
Right. So, yeah, that would definitely be fun. It would also be fun to talk about which countries actually have the most holidays. Because I just remember being in Germany, and I was only over living there during the summer. And I remember we had a couple days off. We didn't have class, and I was like, why don't we have class? And my boss was like, oh, yeah, it's just a German holiday this week.
Oh, that's great. How was it when you were in Czech Republic?
Also pretty similar. I think they have some pretty similar holidays.
Okay.
Germany and the Czech Republic.
Okay.
Not all the same, but a lot of them are fairly similar.
We have a good bit here, too. Yeah. I'm not going to lie. Like, there's always... We don't get a day off for all of them. But there are ones where sometimes they come up and it's like, oh, that's... Okay, yeah, I forgot about that. Or, like, people always mix up Memorial Day and Veterans Day, you know? But anyway, that's not what this is about. Do you have any shout-outs or anything?
I do, actually, yeah.
Okay, well...
I have one shout-out. This is a great story here, Jared. My shout-out today goes out to Steph and Aisha Curry, who have been very charitable, Jared, and through their foundation, Eat, Learn, Play, they have delivered, let me see how many... they have delivered over 15 million meals to the people in the Oakland area.
Nice.
Which I think is just awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really crazy. So the foundation has served well over 15 million meals. The foundation is one of the programs that essentially pays struggling restaurants or food adjacent businesses to prepare free meals for families and the underemployed, according to their recently released 2020 fourth quarter update. The program has 20 million to put back in the local economy and led to the rehiring of more than 900 Oakland restaurant workers. So not only are they helping by feeding people, but they're also keeping people employed, which, restaurants right now are still, a lot of them are really hurting. So I think this is just a great story. So shout out to Steph and Aisha Curry. We think that's really awesome. Keep up the great work.
Yes, for sure. That is cool. Yeah. Do you want to do Untranslatable? Sorry, I have a shout out, but I want to save it for later. I'll do it later. Let's get to the Untranslatables.
Let's get into it.
What we're here for.
Let's do it. Yeah, there goes the untranslatable owl. And untranslatables are idioms, proverbs, axioms, sayings, and phrases that don't always translate smoothly on a one-to-one basis into English. And I'll get us started today, Jared, with, a Thai untranslatable. And it is Gop Nai Gala. And it means frog in a coconut shell.
Oh, it's like someone that's like feels out of place in their surroundings, essentially. Frog in a coconut shell.
Frog, or frog like a frog living in a coconut shell. Try that. Maybe that'll help.
I don't know. That sounds kind of nice for a frog.
Well, so we would kind of say we would use so they say frog in a coconut shell. We would use a rock to describe this type of person. Frog living in a coconut shell. We might say
I get it. Someone that's dumb as a rock is what you're saying.
Kind of.
A rock.
You're close. We would say, have you been living under a rock? If you're basically uninformed or ignorant about something.
I gotcha.
Mm-hmm. So like a frog in a coconut shell. Mm-hmm.
Speaking of, I saw some frogs and coconut shells yesterday. I went to the damn grocery store. And first of all, I've never seen so many noses exposed. Luckily, I was getting like two things. I was in and out of that place. It stressed me out. But when I was checking out, by the way, my cashier had her nose sticking out.
So they had their masks on like this, Jared?
The cashier did. I'm getting so close to starting to tell people to put their nose over their to cover their nose. But she wasn't even the worst, because then a whole family walked in of like 4 or 5. The kids had no mask, and they just walked in, and they're like, oh wait, and they went to the customer service desk and asked for a mask from the customer service desk, and then I don't know, the dad or an older man that was with them walked in, and he had like one of those, like what do you call it, the gaiters that you pull up from the bottom that you go around your neck, around his neck as he walked in. Nice. And that's exactly what I was thinking. Have these people been living under coke, or are these people frogs living in coconuts? How do you not know what's happening right now? How are you surprised that people are stopping you at the door? And who goes to a store is just like, well, this will be fine. My kids won't have a mask, and no one's gonna say anything. Oh my god. Oh my god. My untranslatable is Turkish, and it is Etekleri zil şalıyor. Listen, I'm trying. That's all I can say. The bells on their hems are ringing.
Can you repeat that again?
The bells on their hems. Do you know what a hem is?
Yeah, like the hem, like a seam in your pants?
Yeah. Are ringing. The bells on his.
Is it to wear something flashy?
No.
Like peacocking? Catch someone's attention?
No, but say you were to just happen to be wearing, well, that's not, you're not going to.
Is it like me wearing gray sweatpants, if you know what I'm saying?
Also, what, boring and gross?
No, never mind.
I understood what you meant. I was kidding. Oh well, maybe let's say we got onto the Zoom, and I'm just like, oh, hey there, Chad. Ooh, I feel like And you're like, wow, Jared, the bells on your or you could say also skirt also if you want. The bells on your skirt are ringing. You could say that too.
So it's just like you're excited today.
There
You're
you go.
enthusiastic today.
Yeah, and I think if you're excited like a dog or something, you move around a lot. So if you happen to have a tire that has a bell on it,
Right.
perfect.
Or a bell on your collar. That
Exactly.
makes sense. Okay. All right. My next one for you is also Thai. Gampeng meho bra do meta. I'm sure I said that wrong. But anyways, walls have ears, doors have eyes.
Watch your back. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like sleep
I'll
with
give
one
that
eye
one
open.
to you.
Is what-
I'll give that one to you. Basically, though, it means be careful what you say.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I could see
Be
that.
careful what you say.
Yeah.
Yeah, you never know who's listening.
My next untranslatable and my last one is Greenlandic. Shout out to all the Greenlandies. Tarnakut uluni. Uluni. I'm actually going to go with that. The food hurts the soul inside the chest.
One more time.
The food hurts the soul inside the chest.
Is it just really gross food? Like it's so bad, it's so disgusting, it hurts your soul?
No, I mean that's obviously a good guess. It is literal in the sense that we are talking about food. So you're right on that point. But no, it's a little bit something. What's another reason why food could be hurting your inside? Essentially,
Because you're so hungry. You're starving. I don't know.
that doesn't make any sense. It's because food is super hot.
Oh, duh. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. Duh. Okay.
Does it-
so it just means you're eating something really hot then.
Yeah,
Okay. I like that. Okay.
like uncomfortably
one-
hot, kind of like when you eat like a Hot Pocket or something, and it's super hot in the middle. Maybe that could hurt, or I've actually eaten stuff where you could like it still kind of hurts going down because of the heat.
Right.
Actually, you can feel it in your.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
For sure. My last one for today is Spanish, and it is no saber ni papá de algo.
I don't know any of those words except for papa. Did you say?
Yeah, papa. I'm not sure where the accent actually would be, but it's potato.
Oh, okay. So I didn't know that
No
word either.
saber ni papá de algo. Not knowing a potato about something.
Just not knowing anything, being ignorant.
Yeah, once again, yeah, or not having a clue, I guess is how we would probably say something like I don't have a clue, I don't know, I don't have an idea.
I gotcha.
But yeah, I think this is something that a lot of people sometimes, Jared, who have some serious first world problems, I think they tend to occasionally be a little bit on the not knowing a potato about something side, if you catch my drift.
For sure.
You know, I think some people, when you see, especially nowadays with I can't talk today, with social media, you see sometimes people posting things and like getting on their soapbox and complaining about their first world problems.
Or like
it's like, okay, Karen, okay, Becky.
The
like,
anti-maskers or something that are like,
Right.
Trying to make a point that like my
They have
rights are
their
being
religious,
infringed.
their religious fancy fake badge that they show them, saying that this somehow gives them authority not to wear a mask or something.
Or they say like, oh, this is communism or something. You know,
Right.
like they say.
Right.
It's like
I think
don't think you know
this
what
is
that
actually
means.
right. Well, I think this is actually a great place to start, Jared, with the whole mask wearing debate a little bit, because that is definitely kind of a first world problem type of issue. Number one, the fact that now we also, I mean, I remember when this pandemic first started, you know, the media narrative was, you know, make a cloth mask or something. Don't buy masks because we want to make sure that we'll have enough masks for the healthcare workers. Well, now, thankfully, at least as far as I know, you know, I'm no PPE expert or anything, but I haven't heard anything in the news about like there being serious PPE shortages. So it's like now you really don't have a reason not to wear a mask. Especially if you're living in the U.S. You know, you can easily find them in a lot of places. I've even seen gas stations selling them.
Yeah, I mean,
you know,
the stores I go to, even grocery stores, and well, that's really the only store I go to. But I go to two different grocery stores. Now only one different. After I told you that story, I don't know if I want to go back to that place. I'm not even kidding. They always are fully stocked with masks.
right.
Yeah, no. Let's talk about. I don't want to just get into specific first world problems though, because I think the term first world problem in general is super loaded. I think
Sure.
It's,
why do you think that? I agree,
and I think it's also
that?
offensive a little bit. You don't really, because the first world problem is saying like, it's essentially saying that like these are trivial problems that we have here in our developed countries, but you in the third world are dealing with starvation or whatever. It's just these broad assumptions of these groups that people don't even know anything about, and it's just like generalizing, just like essentially people with less than you or poorer than you, which is, and it's like, first of all, just I don't know, I don't, and it's kind of insulting to the quote unquote first world people that use it about themselves too, because I do think there is like something to everyone's problem is valid, and also it's like.
I would have to. That's where I would have to disagree with you.
Well,
there.
That's fine, but I would say that, like, just because someone else has problems that are worse than yours doesn't mean that you don't have problems. So if it's like, I don't know, I got into a fender bender and now I can't drive my car for a week or whatever, where it's like, yeah, that's a first world problem in the sense that like, it's slightly inconveniencing your life, but you have a car, you have a job, all that stuff. But it's like, I mean, that's still a legitimate problem for a person, like just because someone else has much worse problems doesn't mean that we should just be like, if that was the case, every time you and I had some sort of conversation with anyone, we'd be like, oh yeah, no, who cares about that? People are starving, to everything.
Right. Well, sure. Well, I mean, there's always that one person that's going to play that role, right? Where it's all, it's kind of like the suffering Olympics or whatever.
The reason I think everyone's problem is valid, I think there might be, maybe I don't agree with everyone's problem being that big of a deal, but I think if it's real to them, then it's like a problem,
But see, once again, So let me give you an example here about something where I would disagree that everyone's problem is quote unquote valid. Like a good example of a first world problem that I was kind of reading through to try to find before we started today's episode is this one guy lived in a condo or had a townhome or something. And in their agreement, their grass was only supposed to be a certain length, right? Mm-hmm. One of his neighbors, I kid you not, Jared, one of his neighbors went out, measured his grass with a tape measure, and then called the police to tell him basically that he needs to cut his grass half an inch. So when you say that everyone's problem is quote unquote valid,
but that's not a problem. I mean, yeah, I get it.
But see, once again, this is the issue with first world problems.
He's making it out.
And you mentioned a lot of them are trivial.
Like it is a problem,
right? And see, that's the thing. I think the triviality of it, if that's even a word, is what makes the difference between like a quote unquote first world problem versus a legitimate problem. Like I think the car example.
I guess you're right. If he went to that level, he almost certainly thought it was a problem but it's like, what's the I understand what you're saying. You make a good point. All right.
Well, I think the guy's argument was his grass being too long is going to hurt my property value.
It's not going to look as nice, and it's going to
Which look to some degree, sure, I get that. Like if he had like huge weeds and overgrown, you know what I mean. But if it's half an inch. Right.
They had a huge like overgrown, and the city came around and like knocked on the door and it's like, sir, technically after like he has this area where it was grass and stuff that he just never cut. It's like after it gets past 6 inches, you're required to, and he had to go out there, and because he waited so long, it was like a 2.5 day job that he had to do.
But see, I would say that is kind of a first world problem.
Yeah, for sure. You know I mean, it just didn't look very nice, but there was no real, issue there with except it was just an eyesore. So see, I guess
that's why I would.
But
say,
I don't know if anyone complained or not, because it was pretty visible from the street, so I can't say that someone complained or not.
Wasn't you? You didn't call in.
Hey, listen, I cannot. As I said, I cannot say whether someone complained or not. But I will say the eyesore is gone. So.
Oh, that's great. That's hilarious.
No, I'm not a Karen. No Karen activity. I do not call the manager.
Right. But yeah, I think, and that's the thing. I think we have, especially when, I'll be honest with you, when I think of first world problems, the U.S. tends to come to my mind more so than any other quote unquote first world country, just because I think we have so many complainers and whiners and people who have been very spoiled.
That. I think people complain everywhere. I don't know about that.
Well, of course they do, Jared. But
people that are in like Western Europe, they don't complain about that stuff too, and that they're better than us. Than that, they're like.
Let me ask you this, and I could be wrong about this, but let me ask you this: do you really think people in Europe? Well, maybe in Germany I could see it happening.
Germans
but do you
really
like
to complain?
right. But do you really see, like, I don't see like a person in France, and I don't know if they have the same laws, but like the condo example I gave you. Can you imagine someone in France like calling the authorities because their neighbor's yard is half an inch?
I don't know about that. That's a good point.
You know what I mean?
Maybe I can see that.
Or for example, just the rants you see when
definitely
people
not the police. That seems ridiculous.
Right.
There's got to be I'll say this: they probably have an actual department to call. That's not the police. Granted, that guy probably did too. That he didn't have to call the police.
Right. The other thing is, when I think of first world problems in the U.S., I also think of people like complaining, throwing tantrums on social media when they go to a restaurant or a fast food place and then they can't get what they want, or they request something, and I'm thinking a lot of like Karens, of people like going into like a McDonald's or Burger King or something, like making a scene.
First world problems often start with someone like selfie videoing themselves getting ready to argue with someone.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Another reason why I don't like the term first world problems, because it acts like our country is, or these first world countries that we're talking about. By the way, a term I don't like to use, first world countries and third world countries, but
right.
It implies that like we don't have problems here, where it's like first world, like I don't know which calzone I prefer, the cheese
right.
the cheesy one or the pepperoni one, and it's like, what a first world problem. I can't make that decision, but it's like that's implying like, there are people in these poorer countries or whatever that are starving, but it's like there are people all around you in your quote unquote first world country that are starving too.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
Sure.
you're acting like these problems are like problems that we don't have. Like, these are problems for other people have bigger problems. Like, these are our problems too, though.
Yeah, but I don't think they are as big of an issue as in other countries.
I don't know. It seems like homelessness is a pretty big issue, for example.
Sure. Yeah. Sure. But I think like starvation and food. I think I would argue that in the States we probably have way more overweight people than we have people who aren't getting enough food.
Probably, sure.
And so I think that's why like the food thing can be kind of a big first world problem type of topic in the U.S.
Go ahead.
Well, just like you said, like with the whole calzone thing, we have so many choices in the U.S. It's ridiculous, and like you've seen, for sure, people complain on social media, like, I went to Baskin Robbins and I couldn't choose between their 21 or however many flavors they have. You know what I mean?
And then
hashtag first world problem.
I think one of the biggest first world problems, personally, that I also kind of personally relate to. So I'm not saying I'm above this by any means. Wi-Fi.
Yes.
Wi-Fi has got to be, or just, I don't even want to say signal, because it's not even signal anymore. It's very rare in my life. Granted, I don't go anywhere anymore, but it's generally very rare that I'm like concerned about not having signal. But the Wi-Fi situation is always like, if you go to an airport especially, and you're trying to like there's like 48 different things to click, and you're not willing to pay for anything, so you're trying to find one, but it's super slow and you get angry, or you go to, I don't know, it's just people get very angry about Wi-Fi. A certain comedian, Louis C.K., I will say his name, has a joke about how he got super pissed on a flight about because of how shitty the Wi-Fi was. And he's like, this didn't even exist. Like this airplane, like you're flying across the country at 700 miles an hour or whatever, and you're mad about Wi-Fi. It's like, this didn't even exist on planes until 4 years ago.
Exactly. And you know what? I mean, I get that slow Wi-Fi is definitely irritating, and especially now,
Where
with so many
jobs,
people working virtually.
But I think that's the problem.
Definitely...
That's another thing, though. Like that's why I also don't. That's why I kind of push back against the idea of first world problems, because less developed countries, most of them are probably pretty internet connected.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of them are.
I would say. I told you. I remember I was in Tanzania in a pretty small village, and a lot of them had smartphones. You know,
Right.
and so like I think technology has penetrated, I think, a lot more society than society thinks as well. I think there are a lot of these first world problem people. I think a lot of them do think that like there's a large part of the world that doesn't even, they concern themselves with internet or like
right. Well, that's because these people are in their first world bubbles, very ignorant.
They're like, they don't have to worry about
what's
internet.
going on around
They're
the
worried
world.
about
exactly.
Dying at every moment or whatever. It's like no, they have like people in these countries that you're thinking about have like the normal sort of problems we have too,
Exactly. So, Jared, let's do this. I think this might be kind of fun. I have a list of a bunch of examples of first world problems.
Okay,
let's kind of go through them and just like quickly discuss them. And I'm glad you mentioned the Wi-Fi because that's actually the first one.
That's I think one of the biggest ones.
Right. So this is kind of funny, and I don't think we'll get through all 99 of these, but here we go. So this article is titled 99 First World Problems. Do you have one? And they have this long list, but I love how they preface this list here, Jared. The list is prefaced by saying, I'm having a bad day because, and the number one first world problem, according to this article, is my internet is running so slow, which I think right now, at least, that's more of a legitimate problem because a lot of people are working virtually.
Mm-hmm.
However, when the internet was used more so just for like, leisure and streaming and stuff like that, I think then it is a little bit more, it's not as pertinent.
Before we get to your list, I have a first world problem that I thought of today. I went on a long walk and I had an epiphany. I want to get your opinion on what you think about this, because I think that we experienced one of the ultimate first world problems pretty recently in society, and that was the GameStop situation. Because we had the premise was that these ultra-rich billionaires are influencing the market in order to cause companies to fail so they make more money. And the little guy, quote unquote, not able to invest millions but these people are still investing thousands of dollars, where it's like these people that are like the small little guys are their heroes, not heroes, but like everyone sticks up for. It's like, but these people aren't like poor people that we're talking about. It's not like these people still clearly have enough money so where they can let go of $1,000 or a couple $1,000s. It's like they're just not millionaires,
Right.
They're just not like multi-millionaires. And I just found it so fun. Like that just seemed like such a weird way to make it seem like these people that stuck it to these rich people were like some sort of just like just normal people like you and me. And
they
it's
were
like
Robin Hoods, Jared. Is what
it's like, well, they still clearly had
Hoods.
Thousands of dollars that they could risk.
Right. I think one way, Jared, to make first world problems, I think if you really get down to the core of what first world problems are, and a way we could kind of rename first world problems, Jared, to make it a little bit more accurate, would be calling it #privileged people problems.
I feel like that. Yeah.
I feel like that's a very kind of what it is. So let's go through this list now, Jared, of these privileged people problems.
That has
a nice ring to it, by the way.
That's good.
Yep, but here we go. So I'm having a bad day because, so as I said, Jared, number one, my internet is running so slow. I will say that can be frustrating, and for some people, if your work depends on it right now, I think that is a little bit of more of a legitimate problem. However, I will also say some people, believe it or not, some people out there don't even have access to internet in their homes. Even in the U.S., a lot of people don't realize that. So I will say, if you like, for you and I both have pretty solid internet, and I would say for us, a quote unquote slow day of internet would probably be a very fast day for a lot of people.
Yeah, but we do not have the fastest. We in America do not have the fastest internet in the world by any means.
Right. All right. So here's number two, Jared, on the list.
Okay, but okay. Are you gonna blast through them? Because I just have something to say about the internet thing.
Okay, go for it.
I think there are a lot of there are not a lot. Some coworkers that use the internet problems as an excuse to get out of meetings, or because they're late for a meeting for whatever reason, and they just said, "Oh, sorry, my Skype was acting up, and I had to restart my computer, or my internet's acting up." It's like,
Well, actually,
okay.
so the funniest thing
I'm not
happened.
gonna
We
interrogate you,
right. The funniest thing happened. We've been testing out some beta stuff with Microsoft Teams, and I'm not sure how much I'm allowed to say on the air. So all I'll say is we were testing things out, and then we weren't able to get back into the meeting room. And what it kept saying was just like disconnected. Try again. And like I checked my internet connection a couple times. I tried on a different device. I couldn't get logged in, and I was like, shit, my boss is gonna think like I'm just like messing around or something. And then thankfully in like the group chat, all of my office teammates, they were all like, "Is everyone else getting this message?" And I even screenshotted it as well. And
wow, you went to have proof.
Yep. I tried
Just
to
in case
cover
they
my ass,
fired you
Jared.
for that. You
Exactly.
You
I
thought
got
you
my
were
proof,
going
Jared.
down for being slightly late.
Right? Wasn't even slightly late. We were in a meeting, and then we got kicked out of the meeting room and had to go back to the meeting room. But yeah. All
right, all right, throw another one at me.
Let's go through these. All right, number 2. My cable is out and the technician can't come out and fix it for a couple of days.
Dude, did I tell you? I told you about the time. So I definitely experienced that first world problem too, and tried to game the system. Well, to be fair, it wasn't my cable; it was my internet. But same concept. It stopped working, and this was when I was in Philadelphia, and I had one company, and to me it didn't really make any difference to me. And it stopped working, and they said, "All right, well, we can come in like essentially like 5 or 6 days." And I was like. And I kind of lied. I'm like, I need it for my job. I was like, I work from home. I work from home once a week, and I didn't really have to. Like, I could have easily just not done it. But I was like, that's unacceptable. Like 6 days, and then they're like, that's all I got. And I'm like, well, I need this for my job, so I'm going to have to cancel my service. I heard I heard that if you threaten to cancel, then they'll work with you. And then she's like, okay. And she canceled it. And while she was doing it, I was like, "Oh no!" And so no joke, I hung up like in the middle. So she would, and then she called me back. She's like, "It looks like we got disconnected. Would you like me to continue with the cancellation?" I was like, "Yeah, keep going."
So she canceled it.
Yeah, and then so I had to get a different internet company, and it took them even longer to come out and install the new internet.
Oh god!
So I had to wait.
Sucks.
I think maybe I don't know how much longer, but certainly longer than if I would have just. So yeah, first world problem, and I tried to beat the system, and I had to wait even longer, which was
although 5 days, that is kind of a long time.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, especially nowadays, I can't even imagine.
Yeah, it's like now. Yeah, at least that was when I still had the ability to go to the office, but now that I'd be screwed.
Look, I'll say this. I think. The other thing with first world problems, if it's like a day or two and you're really complaining about it, then it's like, really?
Right.
Like, really? Whereas if it's like 5 or 6 days, that's almost a week. I mean, that's a little different.
Right.
I would say if you were complaining, if you texted me or something, you were like, you know what? I've been waiting almost a week just to get my damn internet installed. I would be like, damn, that sucks. But if you were like, dude, it's been 24 hours and they haven't come and installed my internet, I'd be like, bro, chill out. Like, it's only been 24 hours. You know what I mean?
That's true. That's true. No, I'm with you. Yeah. It's like, what? I have to wait 2 days? You should be here within 24 hours. Yeah, that's true.
Right.
That's true. 6 days, it's like, what are you doing? You guys are not running a well-oiled business here. All right, what's another one?
Number 3, this channel is only available in standard definition.
Dude.
That to me, like, I don't even really know, Jared, to be honest with you, if I could really tell the difference between HD and just standard definition.
I feel like I can tell the difference on my computer when I go between HD and 4K, like 1080p and 4K. You know what? I kind of do relate to that. It's so funny, too, because I post the videos in 1080p, but when I'm watching YouTube personally, I get a little offended. I was like, come on, bro. This should be in 4K at this point.
Right. That's funny. Okay. All right.
So I do actually, I think I feel that a little bit. I'm like, this 1080p, it feels like I'm watching something on I might as well be on a tube TV.
Right. So this next one, this one's a funny one, and I definitely have complained about this. The cable company doesn't carry the channel I like anymore. It always sucks when you're going through the guide, and then you see something that looks awesome, and then you click on it, and it's like, you don't have access to this channel anymore.
I feel you.
I was just like, oh. It's the worst.
That used to happen to me a lot as a kid. I'm done with cable. I have no need for cable in my life anymore. So I can't relate to any of these cable related ones. What's another one?
Number 5, I don't know what to wear today. That is definitely a first world problem for sure.
Because the issue is a issue of excess. That's not an issue.
Yep.
It's like I don't know what to pick from all of my options. It's not
exactly.
That's
number 6 is kind of related to that. Jared, do you want to give a guess? Has to do with too many options.
Too many options. Oh, like a restaurant related to food, like
Very
a
good.
cheesecake factory.
Can't decide where to go for dinner.
Oh yeah.
Oh, so I feel so sorry for you.
Yeah.
You don't know where to go to dinner. You have too many options.
Yeah.
Number 7. This one's kind of a funny one.
Sometimes my first world problem related to the restaurant thing like that is like I'm like, I feel like I always go to the same places, like I got to switch it up. Like that's the first world problem. It's like, oh man, I keep ordering this food from the same places over and over again. I need to find something new. And it's like, it's like, well, that's boo-hoo. You keep buying food from only 3 different places.
that you like to eat, you poor thing. Yeah. Yeah, that's funny.
Only if you had more options.
Right, yeah, because that's what we need. Number 7, that customer service rep was so rude. Not to hate on a generation, but I think the boomers take this one to another level.
I never have problems with rudeness. I think
I haven't really either.
I've never experienced rudeness in those situations. Remember the guy? This was a real popular story a couple years ago. The guy that was trying to cancel his Comcast subscription or his cable, and this customer service guy really didn't want I could think it's some sort of ding on you if you're the reason someone cancels or whatever. And so he was doing everything in his power not to get this guy to cancel it. And it was this recording of this guy just yelling at him, just cancel my. He was like, well, what about if we try the blah 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 package and we could cut off blah 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 this amount of money and the first month. He's like, I don't want your internet. well, we could give you 2 months off. And he's like, no, I don't want it.
I'll have to check that out. I don't know if I remember that.
It must have been from 2012, 2013 or something like that. Maybe a little after that, but it was a while ago. What's another one?
This has to go with overabundance of choices. Again, this menu has too many choices.
I hate that sometimes.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm not good with menus like that. I can't. Maybe I should speak to a professional about this, but I just can't focus on a gigantic menu like that. I find myself when I get in there, reading the desserts for a bit, then I'll just hop to the appetizers, read a couple. I hop around gigantic menus. It's overwhelming. It's too hard.
It can be.
It's too hard, Chad. Just tell me what to get.
Right. Just in big red letters, order this here, and then you're good to go. Let's see here. Okay. Oh, this one is. I'll say this for this next one. It is in some way a first world problem, but I think this one will be for some good discussion, Jared. So here we go. I got a speeding ticket on the way home. What are your thoughts on that one?
He deserved it probably.
Yes.
That's not really a first world problem. You can get I don't know. People can get. I don't know.
Well, what I'd also say about that one is depending on your socioeconomic status,
that's true.
A speeding ticket can kind of mess you up financially.
Well, that's why I was saying before about how we have problems here too. So saying first world problem, making it seem like only people in these foreign countries experience these sort of hardships that we're talking about.
Right.
Right. Yeah, that's true. A ticket can be debilitating very easy. As we know, there's a stat that most Americans don't have an extra $300 or something for if they needed it right away for an emergency.
Yep. Gotta get that rainy day fund, people. Get at least $1,000 first, and then grow it from there.
I don't think getting a speeding ticket is a first world problem though, because that is. I mean, you broke, you broke the law. You can break the law anyway.
Yep.
I don't know.
I think that one is definitely, out of the ones we've discussed so far, that one is definitely more of a legitimate problem. Because
Right.
I mean, yeah, your insurance can go up. You can
that's not
pay a lot.
that's not trivial.
Yeah.
Like that's something you have
Right.
to address somehow,
Right.
whether you pay for
Exactly.
a ticket or go to court or
Exactly.
something.
Right. I would say a first world problem might be something like, well, actually here, this might be kind of a, we don't need to talk about all of these, but this might be a good segue actually, Jared. I found a really interesting Reddit post, which is from police officers that the Reddit is titled, and you can Google this if you want, Jared, Police Officers of the World, what call have you attended to that could be categorized as I've got first world problems, so I better call the police?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and as you can imagine, Jared, there were some pretty crazy ones. So listen to this one here. So this one Redditor posted, repeatedly get calls in a more affluent part of our county complaining about a neighbor mowing and cutting the grass landing on the complainant's lawn. Same area, a complainant called about a pizza delivery car parked on the curb. Apparently, this car wasn't up to the quote-unquote standards of the neighborhood, and they didn't want the car to be visible.
This is literally the Karen phenomena. Like a lot of these people, these white people, think that they can just like use the police as like their private sort of like security or like enforcement for just anything. It's like who call like the fact that you're just so casually calling the 911 a lot of times, about I guess it's 911. These are police officers about like BS like this. That's like what crime what crime is being committed by mowing your lawn too early? Like take that up with your homeowners association or whatever.
Right.
Like that's not a crime.
Exactly.
And it's just they just think they're just like their personal, they're just their personal I don't know, whatever.
Well, speaking of that, Jared, speaking of having a police officer do your personal work, listen to this one. Here's a serious first world problem for you. I was a cop for about 5 years in a fairly well-to-do area of my town. One particularly memorable call I received was because a mom and dad decided that their son needed a spanking, but they wanted an officer to do it so their child wouldn't see them, quote, as bad parents. And obviously this guy calmly told them no and walked right out the door.
Oh my God.
But that is a serious,
if they're black,
serious
though,
first world
like, sure, I'll beat your kids.
Oh, God. You're not necessarily wrong with that one. Let's see here. This is an interesting one. In my rookie year, I went to a lady's apartment for a possible burglary. When we got there, she told us the birds on her roof were annoying her, and we had to clear them off the roof.
Shoo them
for her.
away. Okay, come shoo these birds.
Yep.
Can you
my sergeant went ballistic.
Those birds.
Right? Yeah, my sergeant went ballistic and told her if she ever misused 911 again, she would be arrested. Which that goes to show you right there that was a first world problem.
Why? The fact that you're even getting a warning, though, I thought that was just a crime to do. I legitimately thought that was a crime to call the 911 about something that's not a crime, like about trivial stuff like that. Because obviously you're wasting time and resources, and it's like we could be focusing on stuff that whatever they consider to be more important.
Right. So here, listen to this. So this is also what I mentioned, Jared, about the grass cutting one. So I found it. So here we go. My friend who was young bought a house with a very strict HOA, which is what is
Homeowners
HOA?
Association.
Thank you, Jared. Very strict homeowners association. He had the police called due to his house because his grass. Sorry, not a half an inch, Jared, but an entire inch too tall.
Okay, well that's fair then. You should be calling actually the SWAT team to handle this.
Yes, exactly. Yes, someone actually came out to his house with a stick and measured his grass. This was after he received a notice earlier the week about being half an inch too tall. They wanted him cited for not following the local ordinance. The cop told them to piss off because my friend could prove that he had a weekly contract with a lawn company. What it was, though, is they actually had a company where they were receiving kickbacks for every customer they had on board. They were pretty much trying to bully him, my friend, into using that same lawn service they wanted.
Because they get kickbacks for referring people or something?
Yep.
That is
Yep.
hilarious.
Yep,
I
and
mean, that's
listen
not
to this.
hilarious, but just like the lengths you go through to to try to get. This was also you could use a specific lawn care company because I get paid for it.
Well, here's another example. This is painfully, so this is according to another Redditor here. This is painfully common among homeowners associations. I worked in a realtor's office a while back, and one story that stood out was that the homeowners association required you to use an approved, quote unquote, landscaping service for grass, garden, snow removal, etc. The only approved service was owned by the son of the head of the homeowners association. He charged more than double the going rate in that area.
That sounds like a crime.
Interesting.
That's like, doesn't that sound just like a crime?
Yep. Now we're getting into first world corruption, but yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that just sounds illegal. But yeah, dude, I hate I mean, I've never heard anything good about homeowners associations. I've never heard someone be like, "Oh yeah, I love my homeowners association. They really make living in this neighborhood a lot better and easier."
Well, apparently our neighbors decided to paint their house yellow, and apparently that was a big kerfluffle at the homeowners association meeting. I guess, yeah.
Did he have to change it?
That's an example, though, right there, in a way, of a first world problem.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
also
on the one hand, sure, if your house is so damn ugly, in theory, it could drive the property value down in theory.
If it's well painted, though, like, I mean, how it had to be a really horrendous color. Like, like for me to be looking
ugly. You've seen the color yellow. It's pretty ugly.
I mean, yellow's not a great color in general. It looks good on some cars, like a Honda S2000 or something like that. But like for it to like stop someone from buying a house in that neighborhood, that because if the house was in good shape and everything and it was just a color, that would have to be a horrendous color for me. It'd have to say something almost like just offensive on it, you know.
Right.
I don't know, like if it was like wallpaper, outdoor wallpaper that just had shit written all over it, or no, never mind, I'm not even gonna go there. You know, a first world problem that I have sometimes, just one that came to my head. So I don't have I don't have the newest iPhone with the phone recognition, the face recognition. I'm still using the fingerprint. And if your finger gets kind of wet, the fingerprint thingy doesn't work, and you have to type in the code. But then what happens? I will
say this though. What?
All I was gonna say was like I'm impatient with it, so I'll like start typing, but I'll be too quick, and then I almost always mess up the code the first time.
Gotcha.
And I'm like, come on, just. And I'm trying to.
I will say this though: the nice thing about the fingerprint is that my phone is now the face recognition thing, and when I'm wearing my mask in public, it won't open.
Oh, really?
So I have to enter in my code.
I hear because you can do it with sunglasses on and stuff.
Mine doesn't always work.
Okay, I thought I heard that you could. I've never tried, so I don't know. I'll take.
Those are both definitely first world problems.
Yeah,
it's like,
that's true.
I have to take off my mask, or I have to wipe off my head.
I have to lift up my sunglasses to unlock. Actually, to be fair, now that I think about it, I feel like I have seen. Excuse me. I feel like I have seen people look at their phone and like lift up sunglasses. Now that I think about it, to unlock it.
All right, here. This is a funny post, Jared. Let me read through this one as well. Another kind of cop story here with some first world problems. Okay, so I've only been a cop for a few months now, but I've already had quite a number of these. I think it has to do with the size of the town I'm in, roughly 2,000 people. But here are some of the more. Can you hear the dog barking, Jared?
No.
Okay, good. All right. All right. So. Got called to a woman's house to verify that her power was actually out. It was. I don't know if that's. I mean, that's kind of a silly call, but I just picture this like really old lady not like knowing how to check whether her power is on.
I mean, if she's old, that could be dangerous, and if she doesn't. But I mean, like, yeah, I mean, that's why people. That's also why. If you call like the internet company or something and you say there's something wrong, they always say, "Did you restart it?" And everyone always gets annoyed because there probably are people that just like look over, like, "Oh wait, I tripped on the cord and it got unplugged. It's working now."
Well, I was reading an IT thread on Reddit, and they said that exact same thing. Like the amount of times that the majority of IT, exactly, or people will say they restarted their computer, but they actually didn't.
Yeah.
So stuff like that. Anyway, all right, next one from this cop. A woman was blocking the road on a main street in town because someone was in her favorite parking spot, and she wouldn't move until she could park there. The audacity, Jared. That is just so ridiculous. I just picture this Karen in an SUV
Karen on
with
Karen
her
crime.
"let me talk to your manager" haircut, blocking the street. That is just so crazy.
Can we go back and forth? I want to give you some. I found my new favorite subreddit, First World Problems. Some of these are making me laugh. As my air fryer broke, and I had to wait an extra 10 minutes for my food to cook in the oven.
Oh, that's great. Yep, that's a good first world problem.
The reason why that's so good is it's not like my air fryer broke and so I couldn't make the food. It's like, oh no, I had another way to do it. I just had to wait a little bit longer.
I just have to wait 10 minutes longer. Yeah, that's funny.
I don't get to enjoy the smart predictive algorithms of streaming services. I don't even know I don't feel like reading that. That's a long one. I can't use the bidet because my wife is on a video call for work in the next room over and is worried that they can hear me washing my butt.
That's definitely a first world problem. That is hilarious.
It's interesting that that's a first world problem, though, because I feel like in most of the world that's not the U.S., bidets are pretty standard. I feel like the U.S. is actually in the minority with not using bidets.
Here's the thing, Jared. I think what makes this a first world problem is that in the U.S. especially, I think we are so terrible about just acknowledging normal human things like going to the bathroom.
It is
and
kind
the
of
fact that
first worldly also because it's like, in the other room on the conference call.
Exactly. Exactly. Just
worried about hearing
in another country, they just be like, just go to the bathroom. Who cares?
Yeah.
Exactly. That's a funny one though.
My bank calculated a last bit of interest and sent me a bill for down payment due right before processing me paying. That's terrible. I don't care about that. I want to have an oatmeal for breakfast for health reasons while at the same time craving for a sandwich. That's terrible. That's not. All right, maybe this isn't my new favorite subreddit.
I will say this though, Jared. I was looking at my bank statement the other day. Got my yearly interest rate. Got my 60 cents for the year. So that's pretty exciting.
Oh, here's a good one. I slipped and spilled cheese on the floor. We have more cheese, but I had to clean up the spill.
Hey, no, I think the first world problem, if you wanted to make this even more extreme, it would be like, I had to clean the cheese up myself because the maid won't be coming in until Monday, and it's Friday or something. That would really make it first
funny.
World problem.
Usually I don't like to clean the floors myself. I have people do that, but I couldn't just leave this here for overnight.
Right, exactly.
I forgot to charge my wireless gaming mouse, so now I have to play other games with my controller while waiting for it to charge fully. So I think
that type of first world problem you hear a lot. Like I have to wait another 10 minutes for my phone to charge, or I have to share a USB port with my siblings. Not having enough USB.
People's
ports
obsession over like almost being out of charge or stuff in general is a first world problem because I don't think we. The need to be that connected to a phone, I feel like.
Right. I think it's just because we've gotten so used to it. Whereas, there's a lot of days now what I do is I leave my phone in my bedroom and I'm in a completely different place. Mm-hmm. But most people, they always want to have their phone by their side. I will say this, though. If you want to avoid that, and I think the thing with first world problems, though, Jerry, is people just like to complain. I think at the end of the day, I think that's really what it boils down to. But anyways, if you keep a power bank with you or on you, I mean, that was, I never had to complain when I was living in China because I always had a power bank with me, So that was a way I could circumvent that first world problem, I guess.
My job gave me a laptop. It's a Windows, but I like Macs better.
Yes, that's a great first world problem. Oh, that's a great first world problem.
Doing groceries today, shopping for groceries today, and one of the wheels started to spaz out and make noise. I hate that. When you get like the grocery cart with the one wheel that just constantly shakes and is super loud. I don't know why, but it feels embarrassing to have that cart. And it's like, I didn't break it. This is just a cart that I took, and now I realize it makes noise. But I'm always like, oh, God, everyone's looking at me in my shitty cart.
Right. Squeak, 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 squeak. That's the sound it's making as you're pushing it down the grocery store aisle. That's funny.
Oh, this is a good one. There are straight porn ads on my gay porn, and it pisses me off.
Oh, that one is hilarious. Oh my God, that's so funny. I would say that's definitely a first world problem right there. There's a lot of countries that shit's censored. You can't even see it.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
I need food that can be placed in my mouth immediately. I don't even know what that. Oh, I see what they're saying. Like it's too hot or something. All right, that was fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got. I don't need to go through all of them. All right, I take it back. Still one of my new favorites.
That's got some good ones. That's got some funny ones.
Mm-hmm.
I think like we've mentioned, the key with a first world problem is that it's really only something to get upset about. I would say when you like a first world problem really is something you get upset about when your life in theory is so comfortable that you don't have anything more important to complain about. I mean, if I have to complain to you, Jared, that I don't know what to have for dinner tonight because I have too many choices.
Right.
Clearly, I don't have that many terrible problems in life. You know?
Dude, there is a time, this is gonna ultimate first world problem. When I lived in Philadelphia, in the city, I remember a time where I was like, I was literally like, I don't know what to choose, what to eat, like what genre of food I want, because I essentially could choose for any genre, and I'm like, I don't know. I was like, I had ramen the other day. I feel like I always go to pizza, and I could not make a decision on which genre of food I wanted with my unlimited amount of options that I had.
Right. Here, let's go through a couple other ones. This is actually from a website called College Times, and I think some of these are pretty good. I think definitely a lot of millennials will probably relate to these, and a lot of college students as well. Number one, Jared, this is definitely for sure a giant first world problem. I had this issue when I was living in Czech Republic. The phone charger cable not being able to reach your bed.
Yeah, well, I fixed that with two things.
Now bought a longer cable.
I buy this like the 6 foot long cables, and I have a wireless charger for
that's the real game changer.
And in my bedroom, I have two wireless chargers. Not to brag.
Dang, you got yourself covered.
I bought one, and then I got one for a gift one year, and I'm like,
nice.
The more the merrier.
I will say this problem right here, although yes, it is a first world problem, this one can definitely be very, very irritating. So I think, although this one is trivial, it can be very annoying. Losing the TV remote, dude.
That one hit me personally. I have this little I have like a sound bar speaker thingy that has a separate remote. I lose that thing all the time, and
it's pretty tiny too, isn't it? It's like a little,
it's like a square, like honestly, I could probably fit it in between my pointer finger and my thumb like that, and it's always under the sofa or in between a cushion and I'm just like, where is this freaking thing all the time?
Or sometimes too, like if you have, depending on the color of the remote, like if you have anything like my TV stand is black.
Yeah.
So occasionally if I'll have like something that's black on there, I'll like glance over there and I won't notice it's there because it kind of matches.
Yeah, I have the exact same problem. Yeah.
Right. And then you walk around and tear up, your entire house or room trying to find the damn thing.
It's right here.
And then it's just right there. Well, so funny story. So I guess another Reddit post I read, this one woman ended up calling the cops because she lost her ring, which apparently was very valuable, and her pack of cigarettes. Turned out she was still wearing her ring, just on her other hand.
What?
And her pack of cigarettes was just somewhere in the glove compartment where she didn't look.
She should be arrested as well, and it seems like evaluated somehow.
Right?
Because
no kidding.
How does that happen?
No kidding.
I thought maybe you were gonna say the cops got there. She's like, oh wait, no, I smoked the cigarettes.
I don't know what the cops actually did. I think he just said like they, just was like, okay, you got your stuff, and they left. But
I don't understand how someone like that can live by themselves or like support themselves and live by themselves.
Right. Yeah. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised.
I don't.
All right. Related to losing the TV remote, though, Jared, this is kind of a funny one, kind of related. So after you finally found the TV remote, Jared, the next first world problem is flicking through TV channels, and all of them are on commercial breaks at the same time.
Yeah. See, this is once again why I don't do TV anymore. Same thing with radio.
Right.
Where
Right.
it's like, yeah, I honestly, first world problem. I can't handle commercials at all. I have ad blocker on YouTube, so I never see YouTube ads.
Yep.
And, on the rare occasion I watch a YouTube video on my phone, the reason I don't is because I'm so used to not having ads. Like, I get mad if there's not, if anything more than a 5-second skip ad thingy, that I'm okay with for them. I mean, I don't like it, but I'll be fine with it. Anything more than that, I'm like, this video's not even worth it.
Right. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, though, I think waiting for videos to buffer, that can be another big first
Does that
world
still
problem.
happen?
Oh, yeah.
That doesn't
Oh,
really
yeah.
happen.
It happens
to me
at
that
our
much.
house. Definitely happens at our house.
But that is a first world
ads,
problem, yeah.
Ads is definitely a big first world problem as well, though, Jared. I would agree with you there. Here's kind of a funny one, and maybe it will bring back some memories for you, Jared, when you used to visit me out in East Lansing. Giving people your Wi-Fi password. You remember my modem had that long-ass password?
Well, yeah, you, the technological expert, don't know how to change your Wi-Fi password, and so it was literally just the default code that came with the box, and it's like a 30 string of uppercase,
I had it
lowercase,
memorized.
and numbers.
I had given
no way.
Right. Yeah, seriously, I had it memorized. I had given it to enough people where I had it memorized.
So you're just like MXR9.
It was like it was D0508, and I don't remember after that. But that was like the first block. But yeah, yep. But that can definitely be kind of a first world problem. Here is, I think, the biggest. Like, if someone says this to me, Jared, this is where I would say like really, you're complaining right now. Being hungry, but not for any of the food you have in your fridge.
Yeah, I've been there for sure. For sure, I'm not craving that, or like
Right.
I just had that. Yeah,
right. I think at the end of the day, Jared, what these first world
that's why
problems.
I'll say this though. That's why I also once again would push back against the first world thing, because I imagine. Yeah, obviously there are people that are starving, but I think there are plenty of people around the world that have these bigger problems that you're that you're talking about. That, but also, enjoy a variety of foods. They don't eat the same thing every day. It's just so weird to assume that. And I get it. I'm just, this is just why sometimes I feel like the use of first world problems is a little tone deaf.
Yeah,
It's like, well, how do you think people live around the world?
Right, I agree with you. I think the term privileged people problems.
I like that.
Is,
I like that better.
It just has a nice ring to it.
Yeah, alliteration.
But yeah. Although I will say this, I do think there are at least a lot of millennials who use the term first world problem kind of ironically to, in a way,
of
like say we have it pretty good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like I think at the end of the day,
It's the word it was first used in like 1979 or something, but it really is like a meme culture word. Like it got popularized, at least in recent history, through social media and stuff. So it really is like
just hashtag first world problems.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure
it's
would you mind, Jared, actually just going on Twitter real quick and typing in hashtag first world problems and just seeing if there are any decent tweets that pop up?
I'll see. For some reason, my computer sort of leans towards German for some reason, and I really don't understand why. Like when I do searches, it'll show me a bunch of German stuff. I was like, why is this happening? Today's first world challenges. Hashtag first world, Today's hashtag first world problems. I can't charge my iPhone and also talk on it using wired headphones. Yes, I could stay sat next to the PC, but I like to talk and walk. Not happy. I actually 100% agree with that and feel that way too. It is super annoying that you have to choose between charging it and you sometimes a first world problem that I have sometimes, as I mentioned, I use a wireless charger, but if I'm in bed, I can't. If my phone's low on battery, I can't be in bed and just like lie in bed and look at my phone. If it's because it'll be like about to run out of battery, and I don't have a cord in there anymore, so I'll have to. Sometimes I'll literally lie in bed and like hold the wireless charger to the back of the phone, and it's just very tedious and uncomfortable. Let's see if I can find another first world problem for you. Coming up to a year since the world went into lockdown, so much has changed. Okay, you're saying too much. Why is it while I'm in the middle of watching a series, there are so many shows I can't wait to watch, but when I finish the current series, I can't decide on any new ones? Hashtag first world problem.
Yep.
I missed out. I missed out on the glass wall set, and I'm crying over it. I don't know what glass wall set is, but it sounds fancy.
Right.
I realize.
But see, once again, that's a first world problem. I think is not getting something you want to get.
Sure. I mean, the next one right after that is I realize there are bigger issues right now, but I really, really miss going out for dinner. It's my favorite Friday night activity.
I think a lot of people feel that,
Sure.
though.
Yeah, and once again, that's kind of I think a lot of people miss going outside around the world.
That's more of hashtag lockdown problems,
Exactly.
not first world problems.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I mean, but yeah, it's what you would think. Same stuff we've already talked about. I don't have to go through it.
Right. Exactly. But yeah, I think the key with first world problems is, at least I really try not to, like, I think the whole point or the whole takeaway for today's episode is
gratitude.
Yeah, we're joking around with a lot of this, but I think that the little small grain of truth or seriousness here is that just be aware that you probably, if you're complaining about something as minuscule as this, you probably have it pretty good.
Yeah.
And you should actually be thankful and grateful that you do have it so well.
I would say
if you're complaining,
a big privileged person problem that we have surrounding that is that because we essentially get what we want, quote unquote, for the most part. It's hard. I think it's harder for us to experience gratitude.
Right. Well, I think
because
so
we
many
just
people
assume that
nowadays
these things are expected.
Right, they're expected, and I think nowadays people are very, just look at almost everything. You can get almost anything almost instantly, right? So you get instant gratification. You can get food delivered to you pretty quickly. You can get, if you're on Amazon Prime,
that's
you can
another
get stuff delivered
problem.
to you.
I get annoyed if the thing I want to buy on Amazon won't come in like 2 days.
Right.
This is gonna take 4 days. I have to wait 4 days.
4 whole days. Right.
I thought you could
then
get this
after you
shit to me
click
overnight.
That order button, you're just staring out the window waiting.
Just checking the
just
tracker
looking.
every day.
Right. Exactly.
Out shipping. Or out for shipping.
But I think if you're in a position to, hopefully you're not seriously complaining about these things, because I don't think they're serious. I don't think these are legitimate complaints. Right. Well, that's a little different. I think it's okay to be human and let some of this stuff occasionally. But you can let it bother you a little bit, but also don't turn into like an ultra crazy Karen and go calling the cops on your neighbor because their grass is an inch too high or something. I think there's you need to find a balance between, yes, it's inconvenient and frustrating, and I think that's fine to acknowledge that. On the other hand,
I think the property value thing is stupid because, first of all, the person's not selling their house, and if they were selling their house, they probably get a cut because they want to sell their house.
Yep, exactly.
And I understand maybe other people around there, but it's like, I don't know. It's like who's coming into this neighborhood and seeing that grass and being like, this is not the neighborhood for us. If it's an inch longer than it's supposed to be.
So it looks like a pretty rough neighborhood, Jared. That grass is half an inch too long.
I don't trust
know
that
if it's
guy.
safe. Right. Exactly.
Do not hang out with that guy.
I'll also say this. I think first world problems to some degree also do stem a little bit from laziness. What I mean is that like another first world problem, for example, Jared, would be I really want to go eat, but I'm sitting on the couch and comfortable and I don't want to get up and go downstairs. That is for sure a huge first world or privileged people problem.
See, that's also why that's a great use of privileged people problems, because that's obviously, there are a lot of people everywhere that don't have as easy accessibility. So that's another reason why I love the fridge. That's a good one.
They might not even have a fridge, or they might not even have another downstairs in their house that they can complain about not walking
or I'm
to.
in a wheelchair. So the idea of going up and down stairs is not just some casual activity,
Right, exactly. Exactly. But Jared, at the end of the day, if you really want to kind of get a better philosophical understanding of personal privileged people problems, you know what you should do?
I imagine you're going to say, listen to, what should I do? That's how you're supposed to answer that. What should I do,
You should
Chad?
listen to the song of the pod for this week, Jared, which is called First World Problems by Ian Brown. And it's quite the song.
Do you know who Ian Brown is outside of the song?
I believe he's the singer for I believe the group is called Stone Roses.
Because he seems like
or Stone Rose.
Like, at least when I looked in the comments, it seems like he's established.
He's not
established
nobody
artist.
for sure.
Oh, I brought up. Yeah, this guy looks. He's been around for a long time. He's a.
Yep.
Oh yeah, he looks like he's rich.
Yep. So he was the lead singer of the Stone Roses in the 80s. And by the way, his group, the Stone Roses, and there were other groups like this, Jared, these types of groups actually kind of pioneered the sound for other groups like Oasis, for example.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, when you first said, the reason I was shocked at how old they were is because at first, when I heard Stone Roses, my first thought was just Stone Temple Pilots.
Oh, yeah.
That's
different
obviously
band.
completely
different
group
band.
of people.
Yep. Right.
But yeah, it's a good song. It's a good song. Yeah, I mean he's trying to like give a message. Essentially, it seems like that essentially what we were just talking about. Our problems are not that big of a deal. A little preachy for my taste if I were to just choose song to listen to. But like the instrumentation is great and it's got like a chill vibe to it, kind of.
Yeah, I mean,
not
this
chill
to
vibe,
me,
but it's got like a laid back, not laid back, but yeah, sure, I'll stick with that. Whatever, keep going.
I mean, it's got kind of
like a happy-go-lucky vibe. That's what I'm looking for.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah,
because it's not like slow or anything. It's not chill.
Right.
It's not gonna, but it's like a positive vibe that.
Right, and it is. I wouldn't say the song itself is like fast, but it is definitely upbeat and has a positive feel to it. And the video is also kind of interesting. He's like riding this like kind of cool bike all over, and he's like playing instruments like by this bridge. But it does have kind of it does in a way have kind of an Oasis or Arctic Monkeys-ish kind of vibe to it. Just with the instrumentation. When I first heard this, I thought like, oh, this dude for sure is British. Like this has to be like, because it just has that more British.
Oh, for sure, he does. Like you can hear it. You can hear it in his accent.
Well, not only his accent, but just the way the music sounds. Like even if you took the accent away, like that sounds like something you would kind of hear from like a more English group. I think.
I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. That sort of I'm not smart enough to be able to explain that like sort of loud guitar sound that they have, but you can hear it in the guitar sound for sure. And I've listened to a good bit of Arctic Monkeys, so I understand. I actually understand that comparison.
Right. Well, what I really like about the song, Jared, actually is the bass line. I think the bass line adds some really good texture to the music. And yeah, it's a really great song. And as you said, it does have like an upbeat. I think the other thing that gives it kind of an Arctic Monkeys-esque vibe is the drum beat, actually. I think that drum beat, it's also a little bit more positive and upbeat. But yeah, it's definitely a good song. Check it out if you're into kind of the more alternative-ish British style tunes out there.
Betcha.
It's definitely a good one. Ian Brown, First World Problems. Check it out on our Song of the Pod playlist, Untranslatable Podcast. And it's definitely fantastic. So check it out. You won't be disappointed.
All right. Were you waiting for something?
Yeah, I was waiting for you to say something, but that's okay.
I thought we usually go from there to ending the episode.
Right. Exactly. Well, Jared, I think we've covered our first world problems. We've discussed some that I think are legit. I think the slow internet one, that one is a little bit more legit than, oh my gosh, I don't know if I want pizza or tacos.
Especially since we're all working. It's not just like my Netflix is a little choppy. It's like most of the people, a lot of people are working from home now. So it's like, I mean, listen, just because I understand I'm privileged, like I still need to have a job,
Right. So, and I will say this, I think a lot of tech issues and problems, those are
user error.
Well, they can be.
I feel like probably most of them are user error.
But I think those tend to be more of a legitimate problem than something like, I don't know what T-shirt to put on today, or I don't know what pair of shoes to wear.
Sure. Yeah.
Whereas, but on that same vein, if you're complaining that you have an iPhone 11 and Joe has an iPhone 12, I mean, that's, at least you have an iPhone. At
it's
least
like,
you have a
my
smartphone
camera,
that works.
My camera is not as good as the newest iPhone,
Right.
It's like,
I only have 2 cameras on the back of my phone, not 3. My gosh.
I'm a 2-camera loser myself. It's
me too, I think, right? I think so.
I think they make a sticker
yeah.
that you can put on an iPhone that makes it look like you have 3.
Oh, God, how sad is that, man? How sad. That just goes to show you. If you have to fake your... Oh, my gosh. If you have to fake your iPhone by putting a sticker so it has the 3rd camera. Oh, man. That's
hilarious.
Crazy.
All right,
but see,
dude.
that just goes to show you, dude, when that's your quote-unquote problem, you probably have a lot of your bases covered, and life is probably
and that's a
lot
point of
better than
shame
you might
for
think.
you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Well, so I think at the end of the day, Jared, let's be thankful for what we have, and check your privileged people problems.
Yeah.
People out there. So, anyways. You can check us out on Instagram, Untranslatable Podcast. You can find us on Twitter, Untranslatable1, the number 1. You can also check us out on YouTube, Untranslatable Podcast. And please, 5-star reviews on iTunes and Stitcher. Let us know how we can make this podcast better for you. So as we say here at the Untranslatable Podcast, dziękujemy, muchas gracias, shisha, and do svidania.
What mall is that?
I have no idea. I just Googled mall.
Really? You didn't want to go with like your local mall or something?
Nope.
I probably would have chosen like Greenwich Crossing.
I was gonna actually do like a Walmart like customer return center, but I wasn't sure if like YouTube would have any issues with Walmart in the background.
You have Tommy Hilfiger right there. You're not concerned about that?
Watch out.
That's such a weird thing. You're afraid of the visibly seeing the logo of Walmart or something?
I didn't even see the Tommy Hilfiger over there until you mentioned it.
No offense, but I think your legal understanding is a little low. Mine's low too, but I don't think I'd be concerned legally about just there. What about like... Oh, go ahead. What were you about to say?